Invite a Budget Blinds style consultant to show you how to transform your rooms just by changing your window coverings. Canada's #1 choice for window coverings. Visit budgetblinds.ca today.
It's been a long time coming. The empty lot in the city core by Arby's and Superstore has been a fenced-off pile of dirt for years. But today, Council took the first steps towards developing the property. And September, we'll see local social support groups focus on mental health through suicide prevention and addiction awareness. City Council reporter Jeremy Thompson has more.
It was a bit of a light council meeting that kicked off with a few proclamations from Mayor Rob Saunders. September 10th will be known as Worldwide Suicide Prevention Day, and the entire month is dedicated to addictions recovery as the Thorpe Centre celebrates 40 years in the border city.
It's creating that awareness that it's okay to reach out for help, and we know that help is readily available.
And a lot that has been sitting empty for years is finally going to see development. The lot just north of Superstore along Highway 16 and Highway 17 is expected to have a project started this month with a completion date sometime in 2016.
That's what people see if they're passing through the city, and that's where people will stop if we give them a reason to stop. So that's exciting for generating business for that core.
We'll be following these stories and more in the coming week. Reporting from City Hall, Jeremy Thompson, Newcap News.
Summer has been over for Lloydminster students for the last week. Schools throughout the city are back in session. But with classes full of eager students, so are border city roads. In this edition of our RCMP monthly interview, Inspector Suki Madge explains why local drivers should take that extra time in the morning and be mindful of kids on the route.
When kids return to school and you have back in the routine of waking up, going to school and stuff, they're not used to what they were maybe in the middle of the year. So it's hard to predict what kids will do. So that's extra reason for drivers to always be aware that there's kids on the road and pay attention to speed limits. And you know, I know there's our system is certain hours of the day that you have school zones. My philosophy on that is just always expect that there's children on the road, especially in playgrounds, schools. So that's when we see the kids, you know, even after school, after the school ground hours, they will be out and playing, you know, before dinner. Just keep an extra minute or two before you go anywhere, just to think about, you know, where you're going and plan your route a bit and make sure you give yourself some time.
Now, as of last year's numbers, we didn't have any kind of major incidents in any school zones, although we still do get people speeding in school zones.
Right. We will get calls from neighbors and people who are being diligent about protection of the children. And anybody in that matter. So we will attend school zones. Officers are assigned schools on a regular basis, and they will go out and patrol.
All right, so let's talk about how to keep kids, and if any parents are watching this, how to keep them safe when they're walking to and from school. Not everyone drives, obviously.
Right.
How can kids kind of stay safe on that route?
Kids, you know, most kids will have friends and other siblings with them. So pair up, you know, wear brighter clothing, walk where you're supposed to walk. That's one of the #1 things. People aren't always looking for kids in places that they shouldn't be. So if you're riding your bike, ride in the appropriate manner on the right side of the road that you're supposed to be on. Typical things like that. Common sense. Common sense is what runs this world, I think, a lot of the times, and I think that's what you follow. And children, you know, depending on their age, might need a little reminder here and there. And as parents, you should be talking to them, you know, what your expectations are. Let them know, they should be letting you know when they're coming home, or if there's any reason why they won't be coming.
A Vermilion man has dared to do something out of the ordinary. He's built something so unique that it's caught the attention of the world-famous Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. Now, what if we told you he built the world's largest coffee cup entirely out of plastic cards? Would you believe it or not? Krisha Khan has the story.
A warm cup of coffee, something that millions of Canadians across the country have to start their day. And David Ryan helps them do it. He works at Tim Hortons and is very familiar with making the perfect cup of coffee. So much so that he has taken his passion and expertise to the next level.
I made the world's biggest coffee cup completely out of Tim Horton gift cards.
The massive cup weighs roughly 200 pounds and is over 6 feet tall and took 6,050 cards to make. You may be wondering why the cup was made out of gift cards and not a more common material.
Well, I work at Tim Hortons and I saw all these cards go in the garbage. And I decided, hey, I could do something with them. I saw the coffee cup on the card and I was like, hey, I can make the world's biggest coffee cup.
And just like that, Ryan went to work. It took him 11 months and 13 days to construct, and is simply made of plastic cards and a lot of hot glue. The project gained so much popularity that people all over Canada mailed him cards, giving him more than enough materials to work with.
I was concerned about a rug and how big this thing was going to get and whether we'd be able to take it out of the basement.
Well, it's going much further than just out of the basement. The cup will be traveling to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in Niagara Falls. After having such success with this project, David is looking for another one to take on.
I'm still trying to get some ideas from the people in Vermilion and hoping to make something soon.
Chris Chacon, Newcap News.